If someone says to you, hey, have you joined Clubhouse yet? You may have one of two answers. Either, yeah, I've totally joined Clubhouse. What's your handle? Can I find you? Or, what? What's Clubhouse? Which is then typically followed by your friend who's asked you about Clubhouse and practically squealing with joy that they get to tell you about Clubhouse first. This audio-only app was released early last year and has been gaining in popularity since. Currently only available on iOS platforms and by invite only, Clubhouse allows people to have authentic conversations with anybody listening. In a time when I feel particularly overwhelmed with all of the content available online and on our phones, I wasn't too keen on the idea of downloading another app. But I felt I needed to give it a spin, and after about a week of trying it out, I do see the value the platform brings, which is why I wanted to share this conversation with you today. Welcome to the Rooted in Community podcast, a podcast for service-based, mission-driven organizations and entrepreneurs looking for simple and actionable marketing tips to grow their audience online. I'm your host, Celia Coughlin-Surridge, and today I'm having a discussion with three guests, all of which are fans of the platform. Now, to give you more background on what Clubhouse is, the app allows users to create what is called rooms to give speakers a stage to share. Rooms consist of pretty much everything, from hobbies to networking, and users span from the general public to celebrities. I myself have even had the opportunity to listen to Daymond John, the shark, along with other celebrities speaking on the platform. It is a pretty awesome ability the platform gives us as users to connect with each other. With that said, like any social networking platform, it has its pros and cons. I personally found that it requires a bit more time than I have to give right now. There have been conversations that have lasted for hours on the platform. With that said, I encourage you to listen to the perspectives our guests, Michael Demers, Kim Dow, and Altovise Pelzer bring today. You might find that this platform is just perfect for you. Before I dive into our conversation today, I wanted to share one of our affiliates with you. Creating beautiful marketing materials for your organization can seem intimidating, and outsourcing may seem like your only option. But not anymore. You can easily create professional quality designs using my personal favorite program, Canva. Providing time-saving, money-making, life-changing tools, Canva gives you everything you need to quickly and easily create beautiful online and print materials, all at just a few clicks of a button. With over 420,000 premium, fully customizable templates, Canva can elevate your organization's brand and features so many easy-to-use tools, you'll be in and out in no time. You don't need to get a degree in graphic design to use Canva, and best of all, you can sign up for your free forever account today by going to canva.ricpodcast.com to get you started. So, Michael, thanks so much for joining me today to talk about Clubhouse. The reason why I reached out to you is because you are, I believe, the owner of the Clubhouse Sacramento Instagram that I follow, which also has a club within Clubhouse. And so first, before we get into Clubhouse, the topic of the day, I would love to ask you about you. What's your background? What do you do in the area? You're in Sacramento, right?
Yeah, so I live in Sacramento, and I am a real estate broker. And so I help people with the selling and buying residential homes. And I have my wife lives. My wife has lived in the area for about 4 years, and that's what brought me into the area a little over a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, I think I've seen some really great reviews for you. And my husband and I are going to be looking for a house soon. So I might be hitting you up for that. Thank you.
Nice.
So, how did you actually find out about Clubhouse?
So that's a good question. I think I just started seeing stuff on social media, Facebook. I was part of some groups, and I started seeing people saying things like, we need to get a Clubhouse group going in the area, or somebody was talking about doing something like that. And so I didn't even know what it was. So just through social media, that was mainly where I started seeing it pop up, but I didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so when did you actually end up joining, or you got an invitation obviously from somebody, right?
Yeah, so I tried to get signed up, and I didn't know that it was invite only. So I got invited in by, I just signed up and waited, and somebody nominated me. That's a friend of mine from
Great.
Hawaii.
Mhm.
And so they wasn't even from the area, and they got me on. It was January 2nd is when I just started.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. And I feel like actually wasn't there like a huge boom right at the beginning of January? It seemed like it kind of was
Yeah,
slow and then it was like really big, right?
I don't know all the reasoning. I've kind of looked into it a bit. It seemed like in April, there was April of 2020, there was like a surge of people that were on it, but no, I didn't even know about it. I
Mhm.
kind of tracked back to some of the originals, and it seemed like in April there was a lot happening, but off the radar, I think, for the average person. And then somewhere in like the late December, early January, it seemed like there was just, when you look at people, like when they signed up, almost everybody is around that time. So yeah, it seemed
Yeah.
like a surge happened then, but I don't know why that happened.
Maybe I don't know. I would like to say maybe it's because everyone was home for the holidays, but everyone's been home with quarantine. So that's why I'm very perplexed. This is a very interesting topic, just how the progression of Clubhouse is. And considering that it's still only on Apple, it's not
Hmm.
on any other platforms quite yet. I'm still also perplexed by that. So when you joined, what has your experience been so far? Did you immediately join and go, okay, I'm going to be the person to start the Clubhouse Sacramento, or how did that evolution happen?
Such a good question. I like that one because I didn't have any plans on starting any kind of like clubs. I didn't even know how it worked. I just looked at it as, like most of us, oh, maybe this is another avenue to connect with people. Maybe it's another avenue for business. And I just got on. And then as I got lost in the Clubhouse rooms, there's people from all over the world connecting, which is really interesting. You could talk to a Shark Tank person if you waited long enough in a room. That's really interesting.
Hmm.
For me, I quickly figured out I wanted to be more connected locally. So I, as I was making connections that way, that's where I found the most enjoyment. And that was, I stumbled into making that. And then the people that were around loved it and they wanted it to keep going. So I got the club and we got it started.
Yeah, you have a regular schedule now, don't you? It's what, Fridays at 5?
Yeah, Fridays at 5. And I just, when you sign up for a club, they ask you like, what's your time? And so I just threw Friday at 5. So I guess now my Friday at 5 is always going to be lined up for Clubhouse people. I don't know if we'll ever change that. Right now, it's been fun. So it's kind of the end of the week. It's kind of a fun time for, people are off their jobs and they're ready to hang out. And yeah, so Friday at 5.
Yeah, definitely. I've popped in a few times and it seems like your format is that you've actually lined certain people up. Is that right?
Yeah, so if you try to start a room on Clubhouse, I mean, you'll have like four people there just because it's so new, and a lot of other people are new to it too. So not all of our friends are going to be on there. You got to almost hunt them down, like try to figure out how to get them on there. So
Yeah.
instead, the people that I've been connecting with, some are friends, some people I already know. Um, I would say even more of them are people that are just local in the area, probably business owners or like-minded people that I've connected with. And those are the people that I've reached out to and said, hey, do you want to be a part of this Friday night, be a speaker? Or some of them have been with me kind of building it. So I'd have them help moderate the room, which if you're not familiar with Clubhouse, it was you are, but the moderating is just kind of helping guide the way a room would go. And those are very helpful when you get a lot of people in the room.
Right. Yeah. And so actually that's really kind of where we come to the question that I'm focusing on this episode, which is Is Clubhouse really right for everybody? And I think with any type of social media platform, that's kind of always up for debate. What do you want to do? What's best for you, et cetera. But what advice do you have for somebody who is interested in promoting themselves or their organization on Clubhouse?
Good question. I think you're right about who's it right for. Definitely preferences as far as, I mean, do you like just to be audio only? That's really what the entire app is. There's no pictures, there's no even direct messaging to each other, there's no chat lines. I personally like that because I feel like the interpersonal connections, the personalness of it, is as real as it gets for social media. So for somebody like me, I really love that. I feel like I build true connections with people, more than seeing a picture that was posted a while back. It could be an awesome picture. I love them. I do all that stuff too. I'm not going to stop it either. But I would say people that are more like connector type people, awesome app. Awesome
Mm.
app for the connector type people. I definitely am that way. So I'd say if you're a connector, it's the best app there is. If you're, if your stuff is more visual, I don't know that you would want to spend all your time on an audio only app. Basic answer. I don't know. I don't know the perfect answer for that one. That's a tough one.
I get exactly what you're saying, and it makes me want to ask you this question. When you discovered Clubhouse, how many hours did you spend the first few days on
Oh my
Clubhouse?
gosh, that's like a confession. I was hooked. I was hooked. My wife is like, "You on Clubhouse again? You're on it, aren't you?" I'd be like hiding my phone and trying to put it different places. And wow, if I was to calculate hours, I mean, it was just 24/7. I
Yeah.
just on it all the time. And even if I wasn't engaged, I was trying to listen in. I was trying to figure out how it worked, and just really intriguing. And I liked I like that it was invite only. I think that might end up changing, but I like the fact that it's a little harder to get spam in because you have to nominate people. You have to be verified in a way. And I don't know if it's been done, but it sounds like there's repercussions. If you don't nominate the right people, you can lose your account as well. And I kind of just liked that. To me, it's a little more real. And of course, you're going to have people spamming, as real as you want to be. I'm sure there's going to be spam stuff coming in, but
Mhm.
it's governed pretty good so far. So I do like the realness of it.
Yeah,
A lot of time
definitely.
to answer your question. 24/7, a lot of time.
That's for me where it comes down. If I have the time to listen or I'm driving around town, that's great. But sometimes I'm like, oh man, this could be your whole day could be gone before you even know it. So, well, Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. We are going to put your details in our show notes so people can follow up with you. But I know you are available at freshhomesrealestate.com, and then people can follow you at Clubhouse Sacramento on Instagram. Is that right?
Yeah. Clubhouse Sacramento on Instagram. That is a super easy way to get connected into Clubhouse and stay in touch with what's going on. And I kind of help people along the process. I've had people that aren't even on Clubhouse reach out through there and figure out how to get on. Even on Friday, I had somebody reach out to me like hours before we were going to hit at 5. He's like, "How do I get on?" Trying to figure it out. And we got on text message, and I just helped him figure it out. And within an hour or two, he got in and he jumped on the show, and it
That's
was it
awesome.
was it was cool. So Clubhouse Sacramento is a very easy way to stay in touch for that stuff. And
Great.
yeah,
Well, thanks so much. I super appreciate that. And I'll be seeing you in the Clubhouse.
sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Our next interview is with Kim Dow, who is the owner and publisher of SAS Magazine, as well as the owner of SAS Studios, a boutique graphic design studio in Frederick, Maryland. And I am so thrilled to be having Kim here. She is actually somebody that I know through the Being Boss community, which I've talked about before. And also, I'm just truly honored to get her point of view because she has such great experience behind her. And she's just been a source of really great information for me. So, Kim, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, today we're talking about Clubhouse, and I know you had actually posted it in the Being Boss group as well that we're both in. But can you tell us how you found out about Clubhouse?
Sure. Yeah, I remember finding out about Clubhouse a couple months ago, and I honestly heard about it through another female entrepreneur that I had been like in a networking group with. And she was posting about it in her Instagram, in her stories, and she was saying, if you haven't joined Clubhouse already, like it's a great business tool, and here's what you need to know about it. And I just remember I kept seeing her posts, and I was like, what the heck is Clubhouse? Like, what is this? What is this thing she keeps talking about? And then it got to be like the holidays and stuff. And I think it was actually like the week after the holidays, maybe. And another one of a female entrepreneur who I follow also posted that she had just joined. And I was like, you know what? I gotta find out what this actually is, because a lot of my peers are talking about it and are really excited about it. So I looked it up, and that I, realized kind of like what this platform was and how it could be used. And I very quickly just reached out to my community and asked if anybody had an invite, because it's invite only right now still. And then was invited by another entrepreneur friend of mine, and started using it right away.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me that you weren't feeling too hot and you had spent quite a lot of time listening. And I think that's been the MO, is that when people discover it for real and like really get into it, they are on it for several hours at a time. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I happened to join. It was a weekend where I was sick. So I was basically just like on the couch all weekend. And I listened to it for like 2 days almost straight, and kind of listening, but also sort of trying to figure out the platform and the app as well, to see sort of best usage and how people were using it for their business versus personal, and how people were interacting and engaging. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And what has your experience been so far?
So far it's a platform that I really like and appreciate, because right now the rooms and the topics that I'm going to listen to are all mostly business topics. A lot of them are women-owned business topics. So for me, that's right up my alley. And the conversations are just authentic and engaging and kind of just real. They're right off the cuff. There's nothing planned. It's not scripted. So it's just a conversation, and that's kind of how I like meeting people and doing business. So for me, it's a great platform. I've been enjoying it so far.
Yeah, definitely. The authentic voices. I think that's a huge thing. And then also being able to kind of listen on the fly. Like a lot of people talk about how, they're doing dishes or doing laundry while they're listening. So that's really nice. Have you dived into using Clubhouse to promote yourself for SaaS?
I have just a little bit. I have not yet moderated a room. I'm actually working with actually the friend who invited me the first time. We're talking about starting a room. We're just kind of figuring out what that actually is going to be. So I haven't moderated yet, but I have gotten up on stage several times for a bunch of different topics. Whether it's just for networking, whether it's giving input on social media and having a conversation or asking a question. And I will say, once you're up on stage and you just voice your question or your thoughts or your experience, there's a lot of people who go and look you up and then follow you, because they're appreciating how authentic you are, and you might relate to their business. So in that regard, just going up and talking for a little bit, I've seen a big, huge growth on my Instagram account.
Wow, that's great. Fantastic.
And also not just seeing like growth, but I've actually interacted with a lot of people, and there's been some networking that happened right away. So there's a few people that I met just on Clubhouse who were kind of doing some working and collaborations together already.
That's fantastic. That's great. So, going forward, I mean, what advice would you have for someone who is interested in using Clubhouse to promote their organization?
So my advice would be, one is to get on the platform and spend like a day or two just really listening, because you can listen to things where you don't have to engage and interact, and you just can kind of see how it works and figure out the platform. So I would say do that first before you kind of jump into something. There's a lot of really great Clubhouse rooms that are about for people who are just joining, who kind of walk you through it. So find one of those. I would also say when you join, try to find, there's different clubs that are based around, different types of businesses or where you're located or your hobbies. So find those clubs. That's a really great starting point, things that are relevant to you and sort of what you're looking for. And also what you're looking to get out of this new social media platform. So find those clubs as well, because that'll open up a lot of different conversations and it'll open you up to a lot of new contacts. So do that first. And then my other piece of advice, actually two things, is I remember I was so nervous to get up on stage for the first time. I was in, I think it was a bigger room. And I had listened to several things before and I was, kind of nervous, but it's everybody is sort of just there wanting to talk about a certain topic, and you're in a room because you see the value of the topic, and so do those people. So it just becomes a conversation. So don't be afraid, to speak up. But when you do, make sure that your intro or your question is very succinct and well thought out, because a lot of these Clubhouse rooms, people sometimes get on and it's just on and on and on, talking and talking, and some of these rooms go forever. So I would say make sure that you have, whether it's your elevator pitch or you have a specific question to ask or you're promoting a specific thing, just know what that is in advance. That'll just allow you to sound very, very professional and well thought out. And then my last advice would be to, when you first start, you're going to get all kinds of notifications coming through. And it gets a little overwhelming, I'm not going to lie. So you can then go back and sort of reset your notifications so they don't come in as often, because it's like nonstop. So just be aware that is going to happen at first, but you can set that so that you don't get as many notifications.
That's actually a really good point. I don't think a lot of people would think that, but that was a huge turnoff for me when I joined. I was like, oh my gosh, I do not need that. I was already contented out by the time someone was like, oh, you should check out Clubhouse. So I was a little like, oh, I don't need all these notifications.
Yeah.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for your insight. I super appreciate you coming on. Our listeners, where can they find you at?
So you can find me, you can go to our website for SAS Magazine, which is a women's lifestyle and business publication. And that is sasmagazine.com, and it is SAS, S-A-S-S. We're also, you can find us on Instagram at SAS Magazine. You can find us on Clubhouse. You can find me on Clubhouse. The handle is also at SAS Magazine. So any of those places are really great to find me. For content, if you're looking for any branding or design services, you can find me at sascreativestudios.com as well.
Fantastic. Well, great. I'll also make sure that those are linked in our show notes. So Kim, with that, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Celia.
Our last interview today, where we're talking about Clubhouse, I'm interviewing Altovise Pelzer of Your Voice Manager. And I'm so excited to be talking to her because she's actually someone that I met through another Clubhouse group that I am a member of. And she is here, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit more about you?
Sure. Altovise Pelzer here, your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept them silent for way too long. Host of the #SpeakEasy podcast and a magnetic introvert. And so Clubhouse has really been a fun space for me. So I'm excited about this conversation.
Fantastic. That's great. Well, we're here today to really kind of unlock what Clubhouse is for those who don't know what it is. And so I'd like to dive in with, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background and how that led you to Clubhouse. How did you find out about it?
So I literally am an introvert. Everybody who knows me well enough knows I'm the introvert. I don't like new platforms. It's bad enough trying to manage the regular platforms. But over the last few months, I've been getting notifications from people sending me invites, people messaging me, hey, are you on yet? Like, we need you on this app. You need to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was even to the point where I had people who were like, well, listen, I will save an invite just for you. You tell me when you're ready to get on and I will save an invite. And so I was very deliberate with what I was doing. And because I had already just started something like 2 months ago, I was like, well, let me, get my handle on this. And then I'll go ahead and do Clubhouse in January. And as soon as I got in there, I see why, what all the hype was about, right? But it was crazy because everybody was just like, you need to be here. You need to be on this app. We need you on this app. And I was just like, okay, well, next year we'll do it.
Yeah. What has your experience been so far?
So I've had a mixed experience. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy about this conversation is because I've had the good happen and I've had the, what the heck is this? And so there were some key things that, go on when it comes to the platform. One of the most important things is be mindful of who you follow. You can't follow everybody, even some of your friends. I know that hurts. Oh, that's an ouch. That's an owie. But it really does cultivate the types of rooms that are in what's called your hallway, which is the space when you first go onto the app. So those of you who are already on, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't, I'll give you a little quick visual. When you open the app, imagine your Facebook timeline. But imagine you actually being able to have more control over cultivating what's on that timeline. No algorithm. That is Clubhouse. Okay. And so the reason why it's such a great thing is because, again, you get to cultivate it. They just added the feature where you can hide rooms if you're not interested in it. Whoop, whoop, let's go. And so the good has been in the past week. Now, I've only been on the app for a little over a month at the time of this recording. The past week, I've been in the room with listening to Elon Musk. I've been in the room with Adam Grant. I've been in the room with Jay Shetty. I've been in the room with Dr. George Frazier and Les Brown. I've been in the room with Sherwood. And so some of you may have heard some of these names before. And you're like, well, wait, what do you mean you were in the room with them? I know it's COVID, guys. I wasn't in the physical room with them. But that is what the spaces are called on Clubhouse. And so I had some moments where I literally was able to get on stage and ask some of these people questions that was really relevant to me. And these are people that I've been following for quite some time. And here it is, like, social media already gave us 3 degrees of separation where it used to be 7. Clubhouse literally gives us 1 degree of separation, and who you follow really does determine that. And then I had the flip side. And so there are some kind of so-so rooms that pop up depending on who you're following. And I had a room pop up that said speed dating on Clubhouse. And I said, yeah, we're not even going to hide the room. Who's in the room that I need to unfollow?
Right.
I can see that going so horribly wrong. I don't know. We're not even going to do that. We're not going to go down that route. So that was my, and there's been a couple other moments where I kind of look, but I absolutely love the platform. And even earlier today, listening to Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, and he did a 6 a.m. room where he literally went and he motivated us for 30 minutes, and then they opened it up so people could ask questions. Like, having that accessibility, there's no other platform that has been like this one.
Right, exactly. And I think you're absolutely right. I remember one of the first days that I was on it, I ended up in a room where Damon John was talking. And the fact that I even had the opportunity to listen to him was just great. So have you actually started to promote yourself on Clubhouse as well?
Oh, yes, immediately. So it's funny because as the magnetic introvert, guys, I'm usually not the loudest one in the room. And you're probably listening to this episode and going, she's lying. She's a liar because there's no way that she's an introvert. No, I really am, guys, which is why this platform was such a phenomenal idea. But also, I've been able to go and your bio is everything on Clubhouse. And so I can talk about myself without talking about myself. That is significant. And in the room, I have one or two stories that I pretty much share, which is getting people, allowing them to get to know me. But one of the things I always bust in the room and tell people is, listen, I am the host of the hashtag Speakeasy podcast. And immediately people are like, okay, how do I get on your show? And, what are you doing with this? And how do I start a podcast? And so it starts the dialogue. Whereas I don't have to go chasing anybody down. They're automatically coming to me because I lead with that.
Right, exactly. And I think you're absolutely right. It's like people get the opportunity to really feel like they've already been introduced to you. So they're the higher propensity there for them to reach out to you. So, what advice do you have for someone who is interested in using Clubhouse to promote their organization?
Oh my goodness. So value your time, value your voice, and value the information that you really do have. A lot of people are getting on and they're like, oh, they're the guru of this, the guru of that. Listen, people are literally looking for conversations. And so, one, I say value your time because trust and believe there is literally someone on the app 24 hours a day. And I think I even heard a little birdie say that there was a room that was open for 72 hours. So it's kind of dangerous, guys. You just got to be careful about your time. But it's really great too because you can go and certain rooms, when people schedule a room, you can go and actually add it to your calendar on your phone, like your Google Calendar or whatever calendar, service you use. You can add it to it. So you can put the phone down and whatever notifications you have set up for your calendar, it'll notify you when that room is open. So I think that's really takes us to a whole nother level. Because we're not getting pinged in a whole bunch of stuff that we're being invited to. It's the ones that we actually choose. I think that's the step up from Facebook events that we are like, yes, give us all of that, the feels, yes. But that part is so significant. And then value your voice. One of the things that I found is that literally you have this opportunity to get on stage. It's a scary thing for a lot of people, but some of us have some amazing stories to share. We have some amazing questions to ask that other people in the room are probably thinking some of the same things. And listen, guys, if people can get on stage with Elon Musk and ask him about aliens, then you can get on stage and ask your question.
Exactly. And that's where you're right, like one step away from another person. It's just through the phone. It's insane. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and answering these questions. Where can our listeners find you?
Oh, I am everywhere. No. I would love to connect with you guys. If you're on Clubhouse, I'm Altavis Unmuted. You can definitely connect with me there. But all across social media, I'm Altavis Unmuted. So connect with me on your favorite platform because I'm usually pretty active and I respond to the DMs on Instagram on a regular basis. So wherever it is that you're comfortable, come have a conversation. Let me know that you heard me on this episode because guess what? I want to high five you and say, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. This is great. I appreciate it. And I will be seeing you around the Clubhouse.
Yes, indeed. Looking forward to it.
This was such a fun episode to record, and I really enjoyed talking to Michael, Kim, and Altavis. They all had great perspectives, and it really goes to show that you do have the ability to promote yourself on Clubhouse. What does it take? An invitation, apparently an iPhone, and time. The key thing to remember with Clubhouse is that everybody is there to listen and share. So take the opportunity to tell people about who you are and the organization that you're trying to affect change with. That's what we're all here to do, right? Make positive change in this world. You can find out about our guests today, as well as Clubhouse and our affiliate Canva, by going to www.ricpodcast.com for more details. If you haven't already, we would absolutely love it if you could follow us on the podcast platform you're listening from. And while you're there, leave a review. We love to hear what you have to say about the programming that we're putting out. The Rooted in Community podcast is brought to you by Modern Roots Marketing, a firm simplifying online marketing for service-based organizations so they can make a bigger impact in our world. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn by searching your username Modern Roots MKTG, or visit us at www.modernrootsmarketing.com.